And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back up. I apologize for the extended break there and for the delayed start, but we have returned with another week, another edition of the never mind. Of the WTL 2023 Winter KungFu Cup round number 9. Ooh, as they do quickly sort out some issues here, but welcome everyone. I'm of course your host Live VIP, and with me I'm joined by the lovely people in the chat, by my plushies, and by the people in the players in the bracket as well. Exclamation mark B in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the bracket yourselves. Honestly, it's a pretty stacked bracket. It always is. We always have the best from Europe, from the Koreas, and even sometimes from the Americas as well, all coming together every week for some KFC action. And I hope you have your weekly dose of KFC in more ways than one. But yeah, it looks like again we just have a bit of a delayed start here before we start the series, but I promise once we get things going, they will not stop. It's going to be amazing. It is going to be beautiful. And again, I did of course take this opportunity as well to try to catch some players we usually don't get to cast. Here on the CranKy Ducklings, we cast so many Korean events. We're all over the Koreans non-stop. But here we get to sink our teeth into some of the Europeans, and I'm all for it. I am all for it. And we are getting back into this. Let's go. Because spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Alkione, we have the German Zerg player representing Shopify Rebellion. It is Lambo. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the Red Terran. It is Amaris. He's not a joke. Feels bad. Hold on, I need to fix that. I just realized what it says. He's not a joke, Papi. Smooge. Hold on. Bam, there we go. So yeah, we're kicking things off with a bit of a ZvT here, and I am ready for this. Lambo already kicking things off with a pull first, actually. Very interesting. I mean, I'm sure he's up against a player that he's not quite familiar with and maybe hasn't faced off too often in the past, so going for a safety opener here, going for a pull, hatch, gas. With this, he can shut down any kind of early game aggression. I'm talking about early game proxies. Likewise, he can also be a little bit aggressive with this as well, sending out a couple of lings across the map to try and delay the CC that is soon to be on the low ground on location. Just a way to feel out his opponent, a way to get a read on what has been going on. As I am going to very quickly try to send out a tweet as well. Sorry, I had to do a lot on my own today. A lot on my own. Against a player that is not. Okay, there we go. Copy URL. Beautiful, and I am just posting on Discord. Bam, beautiful. Okay, now we can get into this. And again, already we did have that pull first kicking in for Lambo. Again, lings are going to be moving out across the map. Obviously, there is no proxy here going up against him, so these lings won't be too useful defensively, but they're being sent out across the map. They're going to sneak around the edges here of the of the map itself, and we're going straight for the CC. We're going straight for the delay, maybe even the cancel on this expansion. Meanwhile, Reaper is zooming across the map. Amaris, he's looking to dip into the natural base. So we're going to pick off whatever workers he can. He should recognize the lack of drones. The Queen coming down as well. Something is wrong. Something is amiss. And that is a pull first. With that, the lings do rock up, and they should get a delay on the CC. They're going up the ramp as well. We should be able to lift in time. We do not. We don't lift. The boys have to be pulled. Some lost mine time here, but we shouldn't lose any SCVs so far. The control from Amaris is good enough. Hasn't lost any workers yet. Oh no! I spoke too soon. One SCV goes down, and we will clean this up. Meanwhile, CC is getting back underway, but that was a big delay. A big delay here on the command center, and of course, a lot of lost mine time as well. We did get a full scout of the main, so we confirmed the 1-1 opener, but we're not fully aware whether this is going to be a 3CC 1-1-1 or a straight up racks into factory into starport, which is what's happening here. So Amaris going to be quite aggressive. Okay, so with this, essentially we're being told that Amaris, he's going to be delaying his expansion. He's going to be delaying his tech, his third base, in favor of a more aggressive opener instead. He's going for the add-on swap, going for additional Hellions. There is a tech lab here on this rack, so we could see an add-on swap between these two buildings as well to get into Banshee production. Otherwise, we could go for a Liberator and go for a tech lab, and we're going Viking first. Okay, going to be going Viking first. Hellions and Libs are moving out. Sorry, Hellions and Reapers are moving out. And back at home, Lambo, he's just securing himself, getting plenty of Queens up and running, droning as well. No Queens though, so he is vulnerable to a dive. But we don't really have enough Hellions to really facilitate a dive, so we're okay for now. There we go. And interesting, so we only made 3 Hellions actually. A minimal amount of Hellions here from Amaris. Going straight for the add-on swap, going for a 3-1-1 setup here on 2 bases. Very committed. This is leading into a 2-base all-in. This makes sense now. The Viking has arrived. The Viking is going to be shutting down this Overlord, keeping Lambo in the dark as to what exactly is going on. That's 1 eBay thrown down. This should all be leading into a +1 timing. Meanwhile, the Hellions, they get across the map. They try to poke in, but the Queens are in position. We do fend Amaris off. Again, off of the pool first, we haven't made a single Ling. Just pure drones and Queens here. We have 3 Queens here on the right-hand side. We got essentially 3 Queens here on the left as well. We are up to 7 Queens in total. We have an 8th Queen on the way. And we're going into a Bailey Nest alongside a Lair. So very safe play here out of Lambo. He's not rushing into upgrades, not rushing into double Evo chamber. Just very safe play overall, respecting his opponent. And shouldn't be droning up too much more from here. We're droning up to around 60. We're getting a 4th base. But again, he's up against a 2-base all-in. 2 more Raxes get thrown down. 5 Raxes in total. Again, we're just committing even further here to the all-in. And Lambo still doesn't know what's going on. Hopefully he doesn't drone up too much. He's thrown up a decent amount already, and I think this is, again, acceptable. It is acceptable for now to drone up to around 3-base saturation. Then from there, we will need to focus on army production. Otherwise, Amaris may just catch Lambo off guard. Behind this, Lair's finishing up. Bailing speed should be on the way momentarily. As these gases are being taken, we should be getting towards Evo chambers and upgrades as well. We'll just see how many corners Lambo does decide to cut, if any. I appreciate that we're even knocking down these rocks, just making it a little bit easier here to maneuver between the bases, spreading creep. We're reaching the 6-minute mark, and here it is. Here comes the push. Stim is done. Combat shields on +1, they're still halfway, so a bit of an awkward timing here. We still need a little bit for these upgrades to really kick in, but Amaris, he's pushing. And what do we have at home to defend? We have 30 Lings and 10 Banelings being morphed in. Lambo, he does spot this army ahead of time. He did have control of the Zelnaga. He's aware of the force, and he's getting ready. We've cut workers here at 62. Pretty good worker count to cut workers at. Basically 3-base saturation without the gases. From here, Lambo, he just has to focus on nothing but Ling Bane. And from here, yep, we're getting 1-1 upgrades. We could throw it at an Infestation Pit, but for the most part, Ling Bane is what we need to focus on. Here comes the army of Amaris. Here we go, 1-1. Sorry, +1. Now about to kick in, just in time. Combat shields as well. The tanks, they have sieged. The Spore doing a surprising amount of damage to that medevac. Lambo getting ready for a surround as well. Bailing speed about to finish up in a couple of seconds. Tanks are repositioning. That would be a good opportunity, but again, Lambo, he's just biding his time, waiting for more Bailings, waiting for more Lings. Going to be securing himself. The Marines, they stim on 4. They take down the Queen. 2. Oh my god. We got a 2nd Queen as well. Lambo coming in from behind, looking to completely swallow up this army. Good target firing on the Banelings. Another Queen may go down as well. Lambo, he's bleeding out a lot of Queens, but he has plenty of Ling Bane on the ground, and he will crash in. He collapses on these tanks. Tanks are going to be going down. The Marines as well. Some of them are saved, but behind this, there's nothing else. There's no third, is what I'm saying. There's no third CC. Only Marines, only tanks. We have a 2nd wave coming out that is spotted by Lambo. Lambo, he droned up for a moment, but it looks like he has recognized that there's still another army coming out, and he still needs to focus on a Ling Bane army. Again, if Lambo were to drone too much here, then he may just die, but he's preparing himself. He's getting ready, looking to knock down those rocks, preparing for the army to rock up. Here comes wave number 2. But the tank count was reset, so we're back down to 2 tanks. Only 2 tanks. The Marines are pushing on forward. You can see Lambo getting ready here for the engage. Lings have been spotted, and the Banelings are coming in from behind. Oh, we're trying to. A little bit of awkward movement there. Lambo, he does collapse. Up. A little bit greedy, but some Banelings will connect. Not an amazing trade, but a trade nonetheless. Yeah, Lambo, he loses a lot of his Lings here. Some okay connections, but he still has plenty of army on the ground. Lambo threatening a counterattack. Liberators have been spotted. And more reinforcements on the way. Lambo getting caught out a little bit, but he's going to get a free tank. Very nice pick off. Tank goes down. The army gets dragged back home. A stim is forced. And we can bust the natural. Uh-oh. And that's what we're going to do. We can and we will. As the Baileys, they crash on forward. We bust into the natural base. Tank's going to go down and we can just eviscerate that mineral line. We can have our way with it. And Amaris is still trying to push. He's still not quite there. SCVs are going down. Amaris down to half his worker count. Down to 27 SCVs. Liberators have arrived though. This army is pretty threatening. This base is going to be going down, and Lambo, he just gives up on the base. He doesn't have to protect it. He can just give up on the hatchery. Across the map, he shuts down the depots and everything here at the natural base. 2-2 is on the way for Lambo. Do we have an infestation bit? No, we do not. No infestation bit or Hydra Den, but we don't need one. We have plenty of queens, and once again, we can collapse on this army. We're on siege. On pickup. We take down the tanks. The queens, oh, having a hard time here against the Liz, but they do take them down as well. And with that, Amaris, he's running out of steam. He's down to 23 workers. Not even 2 base saturation. This all in. The first 2 waves would have been its strongest, or the first wave even would have been its strongest. Ever since then, it's been getting weaker and weaker. Like, the army is large, don't get me wrong, but Lambo, he's almost maxed. Lambo's just been getting further and further ahead. He's on 4 bases. He may have lost a hatchery, but he saved all of his workers. Catches another tank. No. Another tank goes down. And we force another stim. We force the army to just run back home as well. Lambo having his way with this. There's the Hydrogen. At this point, Lambo, he can afford to take up. Whether it's with the Hydrogen, Infestation Pits, Spire. He has the freedom. And Amaris, like, even lifting up the CC to land is we don't even have the workers to saturate. Like, it's just not happening. Amaris is still clinging on to hope, clinging on to his 43 Marines. That's a lot of Marines. That's a lot of men with guns. Don't get me wrong. We can try to engage, but here we go. Lambo once again pushing on forward, forcing a pickup. Now we are lacking anti-air. That's the only thing Lambo is really lacking. Queen is going to be going down. Let's transfuse. 1 queen for 1 lib. And here we go, Lambo. He has enough supply to defend and also attack at the same time. He's getting ready for a big counterattack. Oh no! Another stim! Ooh. God, this army is just so battered and so bruised. We go for another counterattack. We catch another tank. Baileys are rolling in as well. The splits! We split the Bailey against the tank shot that never arrived. GG gets called, and Lambo will take game number 1. Whew. GG. GG, well played. Again, a very solid game there out of Lambo. But I do appreciate what Amaris brought to the table. I do think that, especially if you're more of an amateur player, if you're more of an unknown and you're up against a big name, and if you want to try to sneak out a win, something like a 2-base all-in, I can see that finding some success. 2-base all-ins are very uncommon in this matchup, and things like that can definitely catch a player like Lambo off guard. But there are some other things that, I think the biggest thing that I didn't mention that maybe I should have, that was Alcyone. You know, that was quite a large map. That was, Alcyone is one of the larger maps in the map pool. And because of that, the rush distance by ground is quite long. It's quite long. It takes that much more time to get across the map to actually execute an all-in. Alcyone is probably one of the worst maps where you can go for a 2 or even 3-base all-in. Like, they have a really hard time finding success. You can find a lot more success on a map like, I don't know, Golden, maybe Oceanborn, a little bit more Golden Aura, maybe. Golden Aura, it's a pretty defensive map though. It's it can be difficult to execute, and the maps do play a big part. And I'm not saying if we had a different map it would have worked, but maybe some more success. Yeah, Alcyone, I feel like it doesn't vibe too well with that. But regardless, we're now getting into game number 2 and spawning in the top left-hand corner of Oceanborn. We have the German Zerg player leading the series 1-0, representing Shopify Rebellion. It is Lambo. Hold on, I gotta fix this up. Bam. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the red Terran player representing his own clan, I think PCES. It is Amaris. He's not a joke. And once again, Lambo going for a pull first. Again, it's understandable. So essentially, this style, it works both ways, where I'm like, you know, it makes sense for a player like Amaris, you know, a bit of a more unknown, to come out swinging and come out with more of with a much more committed all-in in game number 1. Here, likewise, Lambo going for a safe opener like this. I mean, I say safe. We saw last game, you can get some damage done with it, but for the most part, if he were up against a proxy 2 racks or a proxy 3 racks, Lambo would have a much easier time shutting it down with this faster spawning pool. So again, a very safe opener, I will say. So Lambo, he's sacrificing his economy early on just to make sure he doesn't die to anything too crazy, and he's willing to kind of play with an economic deficit against his opponent. As he's getting into his lings, they're going to be getting across the map, looking to get some economic damage done, delay the CC for a second time. That's at least the goal here for Lambo. Meanwhile, Amaris going for a Rax Expand. Same opener as game number 1. There's no like low ground 2 racks Reaper, or there's no CC first or anything like that. Instead, just stock standard play here from our Terran. Here we go. As lings are going to be moving out. To be or not to be. Get that, of course. Says, welcome as well, everyone in the chat. I see Werehog, 12 Crack, Istan, Baby Ling, Gnome, Chomsky, BM Easy Phil, did notice earlier. Jadol, Neogist, Count Bebop, Good to see you all as we're settling into our first series here, and so far the Lings, they bust in, they do get 1 SCV. We delay the factory, we force a lot of lost mine time as well. And Lambo this time is doubling down on the aggression, and this makes sense. I said before, what would be a better map to go for a 2-base all-in? And I said Golden Aura and Oceanborn. And I'm a little bit shaky about the Golden Aura pick, but Oceanborn does make a lot of sense. And here we go. This time, Lambo is going to ramp up the aggression, going for a very fast Roach Warren. Amaris behind this going 3cc before Starport. A much more economic opener here from Amaris, which means he's going to have that much less to defend. Oh, it's going to be 3cc 2-1-1 even. Uh-oh. Which means we won't have access to Banshees like we normally would. We're going to be heavily reliant on Marines and Hellions. We go for the add-on swap. Hellions are on the way. And Roaches are in production. I am concerned here for Amaris. He doesn't have much here to defend. Gonna have a handful of units and no tank, no Banshee, no stim. Uh-oh. Here we go. Now the goal here for Lambo, this is designed to shut down the natural, is to shut down the natural and contain the opponent to 1 base. But if he sees an opportunity, he could try to bust on even further and break into the main as well, which would be a bit of a bonus. And here we go, the army is moving out. How many Roaches in total? We have 8 Roaches and 1 Ravager for the time being. Roaches have been spotted. They have been spotted. Amaris, he's aware. Hellions are caught out on the map. We're racing back home. Bunkers on the way. On the low ground. A very greedy move. Very greedy here to go for the big bunker on the low ground. It is going to be cancelled. Do turn back around. We can deal with those Hellions. We can deal with the SCVs as well. And again, as I said, this is designed to just take control of the natural base. The Hellions are trying to do what they can to catch reinforcements. Behind this Lambo, he's just droning. He's just droning. He's just chilling back at home and hoping to bust into the main. Oh, the SCVs! No, the SCVs are going to go down. This wall is looking quite exposed. We pull even more boys! Oh my god, Amaris, he really wants to hold on to this natural, but he's going to lose even more workers. This is not the best move. This is not the right call. More SCVs are going to be going down. Look at the unit tab. That's 13 dead SCVs. And the Biles. Oof. The Biles connect. Every single worker is going down. GG gets called. And Lambo will take the series 2-0. Advancing on to the next round. GG. GG. Well played, Lambo. He will take the series 2-0 in the end. Again, holding on to the natural was very bold. Very adventurous from Amaris. Usually you give up the natural base, you evacuate the workers, you lift up the CC, you get a bunker on the high ground, and you're contained to one base, yes, but eventually you break free, and you already have a third CC, so you can get back into this economically. You can just make more workers, or just make constant workers, and you can recover. But Amaris, he decided to fight for his natural, and it was an uphill battle, was a losing battle, and Lambo, he took it in the end. GG, well played. Congratulations. And with that, Lambo advances on to the next round, where he has an opponent ready and waiting. Let's go. And